Hello, everyone. How you doing? We're back from the Borderlands reveal. I'm so excited. We got to stream. There's so much information to unpack. We're going to be going through everything that we can here in the next few days, and I'm just, well, there's probably enough content from the reveal for me to cover it until I have absolutely, I mean, until forever. Like I feel like there's so much to unpack from the reveal. So we're gonna start with, I think, the number one question in my mind. I know everyone wants to see legendaries and all that other stuff, and there's plenty of YouTube videos out there, and I will do coverage on the legendaries I got, including some legendaries that are returning, conference call, that you might be really interested in. But this was the number one question that I felt like folks wanted to have answered, and that was, as I remember that I should turn on my super cool lights behind me, what is truly different about Borderlands 3 compared to the other games? Now, I know some of you might be like, well, that's a really cynical question, but listen, I think that it's an incredibly valid question, and I honestly think it's one of the most important ones to address right here up front. So we'll go from the really obvious to the really minute. One, yes, the art style, as you can see, is very similar, but the size and scope of that art style has changed a lot. We're freaking rolling around in a gigantic city with, brand new updated maps. Basically, they brought the Borderlands art style into the current generation of engines and expectations. So one of the biggest things that I mentioned on the lead up to this was I really hope that they take Borderlands and they modernize it. So modernizing means movement, feel, looks, lighting effects, all that stuff. And I think that they have absolutely succeeded to do that. They have taken every single character model. If you look at character models you're familiar with, especially from the reveal like Lilith, you can see the evolution from 1 to 2 to 3. I feel like characters in this game look the most human that they have. I also feel like the facial expressions, the mouth movement, everything is fantastic. Graphically, everything is a lot more detailed. We got to stream it in 1080p, scaled up to 2K or 4K. It looks absolutely incredible. The reveal event that we watched was 4K. The gameplay that we watched the reveal for the first couple levels was 4K, and it looks absolutely superb. So that to me is, it was a huge thing on my wish list, to have the game feel modern, and it absolutely does. Two, another big difference that I noticed a lot of people mentioning, hey, I see you're playing with guns. I mean, aren't they basically the same? No. Anyone who's played any shooter understands that gun feel is incredibly important. How do you define gun feel? Gun feel is, the way things aim, the feedback that you get when you shoot the gun, both visually and viscerally if you're playing with a controller. Whether or not a gun feels powerful. Oh my God, we're watching my own YouTube video to do this because when I tried to download it, chat, I tried to download it and it downloaded it. It downloaded it in a 480p. Yeah, so I was like, we'll just go ahead and watch the video. But look, I don't even it happens. Gun feel, that was really funny. I like that. Chat, if you saw that part of the video, YouTube, if you saw that part of the video, can you just write smile LOL in the comment section? So gun feel is all about feedback. I feel like in Borderlands 3, they took the best part of gunplay in Borderlands 1, which was that tightness, aim feeling really on point, bloom not being a big pain in the ass. So they took that level of control, and then the level of fun from Borderlands 2, where the guns are absolutely insane. They have huge, concussion when they shoot. Those things to me are the best of of those two games, and they took both of those, put that in this game, and then cranked it up to 11. Every gun that I picked up felt not only usable but enjoyable. From a common Jacobs pistol, which I don't know if we'll get to that point in the video here, at least without any more video ads. But even a common Jacobs pistol felt fantastic to use. Now you'll see me using this Maliwan shotgun. The other thing that I feel like they did a great job with, the things that are legitimately different, is the alternate fire modes on every gun, or the enhanced perks like Jacobs crits, ricocheting and doing damage to everyone around them, made them feel like it made everything feel like a completely new manufacturer. And from somebody who played other Borderlands games, it really made every single gun kind of feel a little legendary, because they all sort of had perks that you're just not used to guns having in the Borderlands universe. Also, you notice their fight for your life movement speed is dramatically increased. See, like if those guys ran behind the corner, I'd be able to do something about it because I'm not hobbling around. Every single weapon in the game is usable, which is a gigantic step up from Borderlands 3. Now, whether or not that will be persistent through True Vault Hunter mode or Ultimate Vault Hunter mode or whatever sort of challenge modes they introduce is yet to be seen. However, I can tell you that from playing, it felt very much like Borderlands 1 in that when enemies were 2 levels above you, they started to become very difficult. But if you had good weapons felt amazing. I got a purple Jacobs shotgun at the end of my Zane playthrough, or not Jacobs, Torg, that after 2 shots with the sticky, you could reload and it would wipe, a power enemy, like that guy that just killed me. And that's not a legendary. That's just a really strong, epic drop. And that is something that was, in my opinion, very much missing in Borderlands 3. In Borderlands 3, you wanted to get the legendaries, and if you didn't have them, you were kind of shit out of luck. Or you had to get the uniques, or you were shit out of luck. Now, obviously, this is initial impression, but that's what matters. The true difference is that everything feels usable. Now, does that mean everything's great? No, but everything can kill, and that's a step up. So I love that. Enemy design. A lot of people are concerned, or not concerned, or just curious about enemy design. Hey, these enemies, they're all over the place. I'm curious to see if they feel different. I can tell you that I only got to fight the Maliwan troops and the new bug enemies, and they felt awesome. A lot more engaging, a lot more different types of enemies. The fact that they have flash troopers that sort of feel like Neo. They have the big Chungus guys rolling around with their ultimate body armor. You have vehicles that are just sort of roaming the map that you can hijack, which is a dramatic improvement of gameplay for all sorts of reasons when it comes to vehicle play, because, every other game, if you lost your vehicle, you were pretty much dead in the water and you had to run. So that is something that is dramatically different. So we covered guns, we covered graphics. So, yeah, again, yes, it looks like Borderlands, but it is beautified in a big way. Map design massively fleshed out. Quality of life. I think that's a huge thing. I found myself playing the game for like the first 30 or 40 minutes, just like I was playing Borderlands 2. I forgot there was sliding. I forgot there was mantling. But once I kind of got used to it and understood the way that the map feels and the sort of intentionality behind it, I started using those platforming and those movement techniques a lot more. And it makes the game feel so much better in 2019, compared to a Borderlands game from 2012. Sliding, you see? So, what else do we got? We covered guns. We covered game design. We covered enemies. Covered weapon diversity. From the story quests that I played, the humor of Borderlands seems to be intact. Very, very much so. Nothing felt And I have a pretty keen ear for this because I did speed runs, and so like I was like, okay, so like which one of these when I hear him for the 50th time is going to be like yikes. And everything kind of felt good when it came to the story stuff and the side quest stuff because the conversations are happening, at least in this area, while the action is happening, so you don't like have to kill something and wait for an hour and a half and not move around while somebody's talking to you. And I felt like that was really good. This little coffee quest is a great example. Bosses. So I got a chance to talk to some of the devs, and so everything that we got to see were all basically mini bosses except for the Soundwave guy, who was sort of more of a boss proper. Everything that we did in this demo, they considered a mini boss that includes Gigamind, which kind of fucked me up when they told me that. I was like, are you kidding? Because that felt like an incredible boss fight. Like he had all sorts of mechanics. He had a shield. He had an incredible design. He had an intro card and all that stuff. And they're like, yeah, mini boss. That is wild. Like absolutely wild. Every mini boss encounter felt really, really fun. Enemy density is another thing that is a dramatic improvement and step up. The fact that when you are in an engagement, there's always stuff spawning for you to fight until the engagement is done. It's not like the pre-sequel, which is kind of what we played through recently on the channel, where you're going to plod along for a while until you get to a group of enemies. You'll kill 3 enemies and then more will spawn. And it's kind of like, I would like more things to kill, please. Engagements feel more visceral. There's more coming at you. There's more things to fight. There's a larger diversity of things to fight and a larger diversity of things to shoot them with. You know, you're carrying 4 guns, and most likely all those are going to have an alternate fire mode. And once you get that alternate fire mode popping off, it kind of feels like you have 8 guns. At one point, I got a sniper rifle with a shotgun attachment, and the shotgun was as accurate at range as the sniper, which kind of blew my mind. So you could technically shotgun snipe someone from, like, you know, really far away. I loved that. So the increased enemy density, and this is a great moment of gameplay to show that, is, you know, these guys are going to kind of keep spawning, and it doesn't really slow down here until the last enemy shows up, as opposed to like wave 1, 5 enemies, kill all 5 before wave 2. It seemed that these, you know, spawns were keyed off of, you know, the named guys in here, you know, bringing more folks in, or a certain kill count. It's just like it feels like the AI spawning is a little bit more intentionally designed, which feels really, 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 really good. What are some more of the key differences? We'll talk about guns. Alternate fire modes. I know that when you're looking at the gameplay, it's like, oh, well, you know, it's like a Borderlands gun. The alternate fire modes really sort of, it gives you more in your toolkit while you're playing. Whereas in Borderlands, you know, 1 or 2, you had 4 weapons you could swap between. And honestly, if you were trying to use those weapons all the time, you were going to sort of run into a situation where you're not going to be able to, or you're not going to want to use everything all the time. Or you're going to be deficient in one element, or you can't do enough damage, or blah, 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 blah. Like you're always just like, you're kind of always clamoring for that, wishing you had a 5th piece of equipment, or like you're compensating with your grenade or your action skill, things that might not be up all the time. With alternate fire modes, Borderlands 3 feels like you can set up to go into any encounter, and you're always going to have an option. And to me, that is a massive improvement. This was awesome. This doll full auto sniper chat and YouTube. It's great. Look how stable it is. I was screaming about it when we played. That's just hanging out. You know, so the weapon diversity is huge. I'll do a video on some of the conversations I had with devs while I was there, but you know, we got some information about you know, how there were only 300 weapon sounds in the last game, and now there's 7,000. There's also a dramatic number of weapon parts increase that feeds into the weapon creation algorithm. So basically, if you are a fan of Borderlands, what is different? The simplest answer is it is a quality of life improvement across the board for every single system in the entire game. Whether it's being able to refill all your ammo by running by an ammo station, whether it's increased enemy density so that way you actually feel like you have all stuff to fight, alternate fire modes on weapons so you always have options when you're going into encounters, or increased, you know, more boss fights because bosses are fun to fight. Good story elements that seem to be engaging, character models that look better, bigger, more sweeping worlds with more verticality and changed movement. It's kind of like a love letter wish list to every quality of life improvement I've ever seen requested or suggested in the Borderlands community. So that's a massive difference. If you've never played a Borderlands game before, at this point, I would highly recommend enjoying Borderlands 2, 3, enjoying Borderlands 1 and 2 in the pre-sequel, because I think that enjoying the evolution of the game is going to be a fun part of it. And if you want to wait until Borderlands 3 comes out, I don't think you're going to be missing out on anything from a gameplay perspective. I think that if you play this game first, it might ruin the other games for you. Because from somebody who's got, you know, probably 5,000 hours across those two games, it is just so much. It is a superb evolution of what Borderlands wants from a genre perspective. So, if you feel like Borderlands looks like the same old shit, I can promise you that having sit down and played with it, every single thing, every nitpick, every complaint, every I wish I could have, from a polish level down to a weapons level, to character level, pretty much everything from what I played had been dramatically improved upon, and my complaints weren't really there. So that's what's different. Obviously, we didn't get to play the whole thing. It's not the whole game. This is a branched demo, but I think it gives us a good enough impression, and I hope that you can trust my opinion as somebody who spent 5,000 hours in the Borderlands. I pick up on shit I don't like really quick. And a lot of the things that I was expecting to see present in the game were not. And then there are new system improvements that I was so happy that they were there, because it felt like, oh, wow, that's incredible. I wouldn't have thought to do that. Like collecting vehicles for Ellie that she can store and you can spawn forever. And you collect vehicles by hijacking them or finding them on maps. Or, you know, the fact that there's a lost and found in Sanctuary, so that way if your loot flies off the screen and hits a kill box and you can't get it, it'll show up there. So that's what's different. Thank you so much for listening. Well, there's obviously going to be a lot more Borderlands 3 coverage on the channel. If you like Borderlands, or if you like me, I would appreciate it if you took the time to follow me on Twitch, because I'm part of the Borderlands stream team. So we're going to be bringing you all sorts of fantastic content, both together and solo, leading up to and post launch of Borderlands 3. So that's twitch.tv/ProfessorBroman. You can follow me on Instagram, so that way if you don't have any time to watch anything else I do, you can get the best 60 seconds of my day, and hopefully get a couple of laughs to share with your friends. I love Instagram. It's probably one of the easiest. It's the place I pay the most attention to right now. If you're looking to have a conversation, I reply to all my DMs there. And follow me on Twitter for fantastic memes and shit posting. Thank you so much for watching. I love you. If you found this interesting at all, please share it with one of your closest friends or your worst enemies. And I'll talk to you next time. Peace.